Whenever you're ready, Mr. Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, there being no preliminary matters on the AM docket. The very first case, Brandy Murphy and Angela Washington Tulich, Buns LLC, trading as Buns Sports Bar and Grill, 200 East Pratt Street, Unit 1075. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license showing $700,000 in capital investment with restaurant fixtures and facilities, seating capacity for a minimum of 75, average daily receipts totaling at least 65% food sales, and no off-sale consumption. This is a request for live entertainment as well as outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Counsel.
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Buns with 3 Z's LLC.
Good
With me
morning.
are the 2 licensees.
If I ask you ladies to raise your right hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so this is in the gallery?
Yes, this is actually on the, you can't see from the outside right now because they haven't, I guess, carved a hole in the building at the moment. I do have a new floor plan, a more updated version, as well as a letter from both, 2 letters of support, one from the managers at the location, as well as, I believe, the real estate company.
They'll be received. Thank you.
Thanks.
So why do these ladies want to get involved in this?
Which we applaud.
Yes, I didn't mean it in a negative way. I'm just curious.
And just to introduce my clients briefly, Angela, Ms. Washington, I apologize, has 15 years of experience. Got it.
Your papers.
Got
That's
it.
why that's why the stand is there, so you don't need to shuffle your papers on the microphone.
Thank you. Ms. Washington has 15 years of experience in the industry and saw an opportunity in the downtown area. The concept, and I'm sure I'm going to get part of it not quite correct, is I wouldn't say a fancy burger place, but it's a fancy maybe sandwich shop slash burger place. It's going to be a traditional sports bar in that regard. As you can see from the drawing, there's going to cut a huge opening in the outside of the mall on the first floor. And there's going to be outside seating in that, again, it's not really the sidewalks, it's still part of property of the mall. But there will be outdoor seating there.
Pratt Street side?
The Pratt Street side, that's correct, absolutely.
And this is the same side where Brooks Brothers
Correct.
is? Or
This is, I believe,
is it gonna be
replacing
the Brooks Brothers space?
Used to be.
Yes.
Oh, dear. Okay.
And there's a space on the second floor for management offices, things of that nature. There are, I believe, 185 seats inside on the first floor. We don't have any seats on the second floor listed because that's just going to be offices for the most part. And I think we have, I want to say 30 or 40 outside, but that could be a low number. We're still finalizing everything. Build-out hasn't started, given that this is kind of that first stumbling block that we have to kind of get past. We have asked for live entertainment. At this point, there's no real plans for any sort of music or live events of that nature. We just wanted to make sure we covered our base in terms of like raffles or karaoke, trivia. And Anne Arundel recently went to a situation where you need live entertainment use if you have more than one television. So just trying to be a little bit proactive in that regard here. Ms. Murphy's going to help out on nights and weekends. She has a little experience, but is looking forward to learning the industry. Everyone in the restaurant is going to be certified in terms of alcohol awareness. Ms. Washington was informing me today of something I didn't know, which is that her specialty in the hospitality industry recently has been research on underage drinking and prevention. So she takes that very, very serious and looks forward to having ideally no issues. The plan is for them to open roughly in April. There's a substantial build-out. I think I mentioned it looks to be about $3 million in total investment. And it meets the requirements, I think, of 750 and 125 seats. And they plan to have substantially more than 65% food on the regular offerings and no packaged goods.
And about how many employees?
75.
And Angela Washington Talish.
Okay. And so in terms of this, which it sounds like an ambitious and wonderful plan, about how much of it is in place at this point? The
We are
financing and?
Financing, we're ready to go.
Good.
Our landlord is just waiting for our approval for today to start their work.
The lease is signed, it's contingent upon a successful hearing, and I think there is a timeline, I think we're within it comfortably. There's a huge tenant improvement, I think, kickback, and there's, tremendous build-out that needs to occur. Hopefully, they'll be able to open in April. We're very optimistic for April.
Okay, so we have a letter here from Cushman & Wakefield, and they are the agents, the real estate agents?
Yes.
Okay. Have a letter from GGP Real Estate Company on behalf of the Baltimore Center Associates Limited Partnership as landlord in support. And we have a letter from Downtown Baltimore in support of this as well. Do the commissioners have questions?
Is there zoning approval required?
It's a C5 location, which is the highest level commercial. My understanding is everything's been applied for. We actually had to go through the process a couple times. I made an error on my part. When I initially filed the application with the liquor board, I filed for, I think it was 201 East Pratt. I had Googled the location, and that's across the street, and they're not necessarily the same. So we had to adjust that.
Across the street. Right, ladies?
The board was very helpful, Tom specifically, in terms of getting me kind of on the right track with that. So we readjusted and filed for 200, and we actually, I think, we've had a couple of questions from them. Today, we just submitted the full layout, and everything seems to be fine, to my knowledge.
Okay, the other question I had, are you doing this based, is your application based on the amount of the investment, or no?
There's two requirements necessarily. Well, I guess there's several requirements. Two of them are, I guess, predecessor requirements or pre-requirements, and that is both the capital investment as well as the number of seats. So this would be, I guess, a contingent approval based on the expenditure of $750,000+ and 125 seats, which is
'Cause
pretty normal.
There's no financial breakdown at all. I mean, at least I didn't see it in my packet.
We haven't, there's no money's really been spent besides my fees, which don't come close,
So
unfortunately.
basically, you're asking us to, I don't know how this is ready for us to even consider if we don't have clarity on the zoning and we don't have any financials. I mean, I love the idea, and I know where you're going to be, and it's certainly a very wide open area. The only issue is what is the plan of the hotel and their outside dining, which is right at that intersection. But what do we do if we don't have the financials? I don't understand how we,
Are you asking me a question, or are you?
I am asking you.
My experience has been that typically what happens is before the license is issued, among the other checklist items, we would have to submit a list of contractor receipts detailing the expenditures. In this case, the numbers should wildly exceed the requirements.
I guess my concern is, like, whenever we've done this before, we've at least had some breakdown of what the estimated cost would be. There was something on paper where we could look at
That's correct,
and see what's expected, what's going to happen, what do you anticipate. We had receipts of monies already spent. Here, we have absolutely nothing.
And if you'd like, I can certainly ask my client to give us a breakdown in terms of her estimated costs for the various
I mean,
expenditures.
that would be helpful, but that is still an aberration from what we've typically received. I just have to note that. We've got nothing.
And
So
again,
based on nothing, you get,
well, I think the board has quite a bit. I wouldn't say that.
but we
there's-
don't have any financial information. We have, if this is an application that's based on expenditures or investment, we need to see the investment, right?
Correct, and I think normally in these cases, there is no investment, there's a
That's
proposed
not
investment.
true. That's not, well, no, there's actual dollars that have been spent or committed.
In this
So
case,
let's-
there actually are dollars committed.
All right, so let's hear it.
Ms. Washington, you've reviewed with the various builders and contractors the different costs, correct?
Yes.
And your understanding in terms of the cost of the build-out, what are the numbers that you've seen?
Don't quote me on it, but,
Keep your voice up.
okay, don't quote me,
Pull
but
the mic a little bit, closer to you.
we're going to exceed about 1.5 million. We already have contracts with our builder, John Porter, our architect, and I can provide the breakdown. It's in our lease.
How much do you believe the John Porter's contract for building is going to be roughly?
In excess of about 350,000.
Just for that?
Yes.
And he's building what part of the property?
The entire property,
And
space.
the architect,
Yes.
you said, I'm sorry, you said 350,000, is that accurate? You said, or,
More than that, but don't quote me, I can get you
and
the
you have
numbers.
a kitchen contract already as well?
Yes,
And do you know
Carrie,
what the numbers are for that?
Carrie sells about 250,000.
And the architect is,
Tim Sanders.
and do you know how much that's gonna be?
It's about 150,000.
So right there, we're looking at about maybe 700 or 800,000. What are the difference between that and the $4 million number that you mentioned?
Well, I mean, our total expenses,
In terms of build out?
yes,
And that would include all the different furniture, fixtures, and equipment, tables, chairs, bars, all the different keg refrigerators, things of that nature?
yes.
Does that include inventory and,
It does, and I can provide you the actual documents. I wasn't prepared, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I just, this is just unprecedented. It really is unprecedented that, I mean, I love the idea. I think it's a great idea. And I think that you would meet the financial requirement, but you need to give us something on paper that substantiates. All of your answers are, I believe, don't quote me. I think that's just not good enough. I think it's a dangerous precedent that we will be setting if we were to go forward. I think this should be postponed
If-
until such time as you're able to give us something. I'm sorry, I know I'm not the chair, but
I can give it to you
this
today.
is just not right. It's just not right.
well,
I can provide it
if I
today.
may.
have those documents?
I can provide them today.
Do you have them
yes.
here?
Electronically. I wasn't aware that I was supposed to
If-
bring them.
If the board would like, we could postpone this perhaps till next week. We could go first and take a moment. We'd have the documents to you today or tomorrow at the very latest.
Today.
So it would just be a matter of reviewing
Do you
perhaps.
wanna do that, or do you want to
That's
just put it, move it to the end of our morning docket and see if you can
Yeah.
get it?
Want to move to the morning, end of the morning docket, that'd be fine.
Okay, let's just go to the others and we'll recall those. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Keith Clampett, Joseph Berger Jr., and Craig Zissel, Hilton Management Liquor LLC, trading as Hilton Baltimore, 401 West Pratt Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor hotel license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good morning, Leanne Schreckengoss with Royston Muller McLean and Reed here on behalf of the applicants.
Good morning. Gentlemen, would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, this is in the the hotel, Convention Center Hotel, is that correct?
That is correct, and we are just here for an internal reorganization. The tax authorities, the powers that be internally, have decided they are adding an entity below the current licensed entity. The current licensed entity is Hilton Management LLC. We've created a subsidiary, which is Hilton Management Liquor LLC, so we're transferring the liquor license from the parent now to the sub. There's no change of the operation of the hotel. The individual licensees remain the same, and that's why we are here, just asking permission to transfer from the parent to the sub.
Okay, and who requested that you do that or required that you do?
That's the internal Hilton tax gurus
Oh,
above me.
okay. Okay, commissioners have questions?
Not about this, but about that. The case before, because Hilton, you're still right at Pratt, you're right across from,
It's attached to the convention center in Oriole Park.
oh, okay, never mind. Strike that, never mind. Okay, gotcha. You're east, not west. You're west, not east. Okay,
Okay.
no questions.
On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from council, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve.
I concur.
Good luck.
Thank you all very much.
No exhibits.
None?
Patricia Yivitz Eisenberg and Christopher Eng, Summit Licensing 137 LLC, trading as Residence Inn, Baltimore in a Harbor Hotel, 17 Light Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, hotel license and application to transfer ownership, requesting live entertainment and outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Counsel again.
Leanne Schreckengoss with Royston, Muller, McLean, and Reed here on behalf of the applicants.
Good morning. Would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
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 Before we get started, I just want to put on the record that I've known Ms. Yevix for many, many, many years in her role as one of the leaders of the Maryland State Bar Association. I just wanted to disclose, I know nothing about this matter other than what I've
I
read.
suspect we know one another as well.
Yes.
I think Ms. Yevitz knows all of us better than we know her.
Right, right.
Okay, so what are they doing at 17 Light Street?
This is a change of ownership. The hotel and the operation of the restaurant are staying as is. Most of the staff has stayed on. It's changing ownership from IA Urban Hotels Baltimore, TRS LLC, to Summit Licensing. Summit is a hotel management company that is a publicly traded REIT, and they have about 79 properties across the country, and this is one they're adding to their portfolio. So they are well experienced in hotel management. Here is Mr. Corey Jens is the general manager there, so he's with them, and he's in charge of the day-to-day operations of the hotel. Again, restaurant's staying the same, it's overall staying as a residence, and the operation is not changing, it's just a change of ownership.
And is the live entertainment new and outdoor?
They've had live entertainment and outdoor seating. They don't do any regularly scheduled live entertainment, that's to cover when they do banquets and weddings and all that for bands and all that. They don't have a regularly set live entertainment program. That's the point of that.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Then on the basis of the materials provided to us in the application and the proffers from council, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
Thank you
No
all very
exhibits for the
much.
record.
Darnold Higdon, Anthony Scardina Jr., and Anthony Scardina III, Higgies LLC, trading as Higgies, 1184 Cleveland Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the proposed licensees applicants. Mis-
Can we have everyone who's going to testify raise their right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Chairman, this is a mutual request for postponement. My clients had met with one community association and did not realize until recently that there was another involved community association. We've spoken to them this morning, and they were very receptive to the idea that my clients sit down and attend their meeting and
And that association, you were with Pigtown, but who's the other one?
citizens of Pigtown.
Citizens of Pigtown. There was a splinter group from the other?
The other one's a splinter group from us,
Oh.
with the larger one, and
Name, ma'am?
Sherry Seibel,
Okay.
Spell that, please.
Scible,
And-
first name Sherry, Sherry,
Doing your first name, so last name again.
Seibel, Scible.
Ms. Seibel, you agree that you'd like to see this postponed so that you can meet with them?
Yes, and there's also a letter, you should have a letter from our president, Aparna Jain.
We have a letter from you.
We do.
Yes,
Yes.
as a resident, that was my resident letter,
Huh.
and then there's one that was sent Monday from Aparna Jain.
Okay, yes.
You guys want to see whether we're postponing? Want to see it?
Ms. Russell has them, yes.
Is that?
Okay, so how soon do you think you'd be ready to come back before the board?
When is your monthly meeting?
It's the second Tuesday of the month.
Second Tuesday of,
So probably you're talking about October now, right? It's too late for
Yes,
September.
October,
Okay.
mid to late.
mid to late October.
Time makes
I'm sorry.
a better hearing.
Okay, so, Mr. Page, do you think we can schedule them in October?
October the 19th, Mr. Chairman, we certainly can accommodate.
Does that give the community association enough time to
Yes.
confer and, okay.
Unless the other commissioners object, I would continue the matter to October 19 docket.
I don't have any objection.
Okay. Good luck, I hope you can
Thank you
work
very
something
much.
out.
I appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you still want the exhibits called for the, or the
Sure.
exhibits? Okay. Letter of opposition Citizens of Pigtown.
Not on the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. We know when you're on.
He's cranky. Yeah, he's cranky.
Oh, boy, it's the it's new baby syndrome.
Ready? Okay. Board is,
Legally conducted hearing would be beneficial. Call me cranky.
Want to give him a
He's
Snickers?
clearly a first-time father. We love you, Bryce.
sure. Board Exhibit 1, dated September 17, 2017, from Citizens of Pigtown in opposition. Board Exhibit 2, letter of opposition, dated August 27, 2017, from Sherry Scribble. Email support, dated September 21st, 2017, from Jason Zink. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lindsay Stander and Yu Chen, Go 22 LLC, trading as Catch 22 Saloon, 6000 Eastern Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. An application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Yes, Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Go 22 LLC. This is an in-location transfer at 6,000 Eastern Avenue. With me is Lindsay Stander, Zoe Chen, and one of the managers is going to be Stephen Kong.
Would you folks please raise your right hands?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Hurdle?
Yes, Mr. Chen has about roughly 15 years in the industry. Ms. Stander, who's been before the board before, has very little experience, if any. I think you were maybe a license holder, sort of, for a very brief time. And as a result of her last experience, she's decided she wants to get a little bit of hands-on experience in the industry. Mr. Kong, how many years was it, Mr. Kong? I apologize. 32 years, I'm sorry. In the industry.
Mr. Who?
Mr. Kong, Stephen Kong.
K-O-N-G.
Thank you. And they
Yes.
plan to run the establishment more or less as it sits currently today, clean it up a little bit, maybe bring in a little bit better food, but ultimately keep it the neighborhood bar that it is, and go from there.
Okay, and it's had, has it had a good record before us?
I don't believe that any of these licensees have had any violations, and my understanding is the establishment is devoid of violations in the recent past.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
Mr. Chen, where do you live? Mr. Chen, you're the
I'm in this
99% owner?
Yes.
Where do you live?
I live in New Jersey.
All right, South Orange, New Jersey?
Yes.
And what is your plan in terms of managing this location?
I'm at some sushi, serving more food in there.
You're going to be serving sushi and food? And how do you plan to manage this on a day-to-day basis? What is the plan for managing this place on a day-to-day basis?
I think what the commissioner is asking, if you're in New Jersey, who's going to run the place?
Can I speak? He's very limited English. Do you mind?
He's the
Perhaps I
99%
can
owner.
clarify.
I just, someone needs,
Yeah.
Right now, this says you live in New Jersey,
Yeah.
which is very far away.
Mhm.
The plan is, if this is approved, for you to move to Baltimore,
no,
correct?
I don't want you to tell him what the plan is. I want someone to tell us what the plan is.
What is your plan if you get the license?
Yeah, when you get a license, I just keep the exist, just get nothing change.
Okay.
And my in future, I'm moving to Baltimore here.
All right. And do you have any current plan to move to Baltimore?
Yeah, I might got some house here and just living around and find a good labor and doing the business for.
And in the interim, who's going to be managing it?
I will be.
Okay, and you, Mr. Kong, are the one with 30-some years of experience?
Right.
Okay, and where did you gain that experience?
I have restaurants in Cottage Park.
Mhm. Okay. And you're going to be at this restaurant or saloon on a daily basis?
Yes, pretty much. Daily management.
Okay. And do you have a good record before the board in
Yes.
Prince George's County?
Yes.
Okay. And who, will you be the only employee?
No, there are going to be other employees too.
Will you be hiring them?
Yes.
Okay. And everyone will be getting the appropriate training?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Kong, you've already taken the Safe Serve training, correct?
Yes, I have many times.
Commissioners?
Do you currently own restaurants in College Park?
I do.
Okay, can you tell us the name of
It's King Kong Restaurant?
King Kong?
Right.
All right, and that's currently open?
Yes.
Okay, and does that have a liquor license?
Yes, it
All right, and have you had any issues with that liquor license?
does. Maybe just one.
Okay, can you tell us about that?
I believe it was, I forgot what it was it for. Use of license, it was, I forgot what they called it,
How long ago was it?
about year and a half ago.
And was it with underage service or
No,
anything
no,
like that?
no, it was something minor. Oh, yeah, that's, Sunday license.
Okay,
Our Sunday license expired, and we didn't renew it on time.
okay.
Did you resolve that issue
Yeah,
afterwards?
yes, we saw the issue.
Okay, so does that mean that you were open on a Sunday, but your license to do
Yeah,
so
we-
had
we forgot that
expired?
we forgot to renew the
Okay.
license.
Okay, okay, thank you. Is that and that's the only restaurant that you have?
Yes,
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Kong, where do you live?
I live in Gaithersburg. I
Gaithersburg.
do have property here that I plan to move to.
So you understand I think some of our concerns about the distance and,
Yeah.
you know. so-
Yeah, I do have property that we plan to purchase and move here closer.
Okay.
Is Ms. Stander going to work in the operation?
Nights and weekends, as I'm fit to work there, once I'm trained.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Hearing none and having no opposition, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, the testimony received and proffers from council, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
Let me defer to to Commissioner Greenfield.
I have some concerns just because of kind of the proximity issue, but based upon your proffer and your experience, and again, the proffer with respect to locating closer once the license, if it's approved, I would join the chairman in supporting.
Okay, and my instinct is to vote no, and my conscience is to vote no. And the issue is, for me, on a transfer of ownership, we look at the capacity of the owner, and that's really the only issue. And with the owner nowhere near the site, and with the person designated to manage nowhere near this restaurant, and the person who lives in Baltimore, being an occasional tourist at the site, I don't think this is an appropriate transfer. So I'm voting no. However, the other two have voted yes.
And I just want to say, I mean, you've indicated that you're going to be hands-on managers, but if you think you're going to be absentee managers, this license is going to be in a lot of trouble very
Right,
soon. So
no.
make sure that you follow through.
Yeah,
Okay, so
we-
it's approved 2-1. Thank you.
Thank you. Be excused.
Yes.
No exhibits.
James Liberto, Barbara Liberto, and Gregory Swellenberg, Teasers, Inc., trading as Camden Pub, 645-47 West Pratt Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for request for hardship extension. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky representing the licensee.
Before we swear him, I just want, Mr. Konecki, so many names showed up on my conflict sheet here. I'm going to recuse myself from this determination. The other two commissioners will rule on it. Sir, will you raise your right hand?
Sure. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
For the record, this is a request for a hardship to be able to sell the license. The licensees have been in business down there for about 27 years. After events that happened in the city a couple of years ago, their income went absolutely in half. He tried to take it out for a year, couldn't do it, was forced to close. He had the expenses. Primary expense he has is to the state of Maryland comptroller of the Treasury. We have one chance to sell the license, and it's almost under contract. Contracts come in. We're waiting for them to put the application in, but it hasn't come in. All the monies are going to come from the sale of the license. Are going to go to the comptroller of the state of Maryland, which will alleviate some of the liability of the licensee. So they need time to be able to go ahead and do that, and it could be the case that it may not go through for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not representing the purchasers. Mr. Stanley Fine's office has representing the purchasers.
I have a question. When is the pub open now, or is it already? It's
No,
closed?
it's closed.
When did it close?
Actually, February 1st.
Of 2017?
2017, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so the hardship is just not able to sustain the business, needed to close?
Right.
For basically financial hardship?
Right, it became basically too costly to operate. After 2015, we just went down the tubes.
Okay. Because you're right across from the stadium?
Right around the corner from Royal Park, right on Pratt Street, between Penn and Green Street.
Okay, gotcha. All right. All right, those are the questions I have.
I don't have any questions.
All right, I'll start. So based on the representations of the hardship, which is the financial hardship, I vote to approve the request for hardship extension.
Thank you.
I concur as well, unless you have some, no, I didn't know if you wanted to.
I concur in the third vote.
And I'm sorry because, unfortunately, we still hear that because of what happened a couple years ago, so I apologize, I'm sorry for that, but.
Well, thank you very much.
I
It's very
concur with
heartfelt.
the chairwoman.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's approved 2-0, and thank you. Good luck to you. Hope
Thank
you
you.
can sell it.
Have a good day.
To you.
No exhibits.
Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Hurdle would like the board's indulgence for 1 minute in reference to the first case.
Yes.
If I may, Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Buns LLC.
Are we off?
Are we all on the record?
On or off the record?
Yeah, I'm just asking if we can come back at 1. My clients are printing it out. They're literally going up to my office right now.
That's fine. Are we at the end of the morning?
Together.
One more
Okay.
hardship.
Okay, 1 o'clock's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Jaron Zorzik, Norino Properties LLC, secured creditor, 291 South Pulaski Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Request for hardship extension. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Still morning, Mr. Harvey.
Oh, it's still morning? Yeah, that's true. You're right, I got 20 more minutes. Okay, good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Sean Harvey, 309 South Conklin Street, Baltimore, 21224, for the applicant Norino Properties LLC. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this is a request for a hardship extension. Let me give you a little of the history of the matter. This property was, actually this license was owned by Von Hunter, Hunter's Hideaway, Inc. My client, Norino Properties, lent Hunter's Hideaway $45,000 in purchase money back in 2014. In March 1st of this year, Mr. Hunter said that he couldn't make a go of this business, so what he did is basically turn the keys back over to my client, who also owns the building. Let me see. In March, we filed a substitute application on behalf of Norino Properties, who should still be the holder by substitute application. A renewal application was filed the same day. On April 5th of 2017, a secured creditor sale was conducted, and Norino Properties bought the license at that time. Right now, they have been trying to sell both the building and the license to a purchaser. There have been at least 3 interested purchasers since March 1st who were interested in purchasing it. One actually submitted a contract, but that eventually fell through. We've reached the end of the 180-day period on the license, and we want it preserved so that my client can recoup the purchase money that he lent to Hunter's Hideaway, Inc., and which is approaching $50,000 now. So the hardship is a financial matter, and we request an extension of 180 days to allow my client the opportunity to sell the building and the license.
And this comes under the new law, 270-day max, is that correct?
No, Your Honor.
This
No.
comes under.
No.
Do I need to be sworn in?
I just am asking you for a legal question.
Yes,
so.
this is under 122202.
because this is not the 270-day rule. This is, the business has been closed for 180 days, and it's a request for an additional 180 days.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Because it's closed and because he has secured, his client has secured interest, he's an interested party.
I understand. Okay. Commissioners have questions?
I do not.
I don't.
Okay, Mr. Harvey, on the basis of what you've told us this morning and the materials we have, I'd vote to approve the hardship.
Okay, I appreciate it, thank you.
Well, the others haven't.
We
Oh, I'm
we
sorry.
get to say something too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still old school.
It's okay. I agree with the chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay, good luck. I hope you can
Best of luck.
sell the, and we are recessed till 1 o'clock.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Board is in recess until 1.
Are we getting lunch today or what? That would be good. We need a grant. That's a great picture.
I never got to see it with the.
It's a cigarette and a
And will you
flag.
send it to me?
I did already. I
Oh,
sent it to
okay.
you by email, but I'll text
Oh,
it
that's
as
fine.
well.
No, that's all right.
Sometimes it's just, yeah, it's looking like a leaf.
I'll get it ready.
This is great.
Jesus, who are all these people? I guess the first one. I guess we're calling the first one again.
Abe's case.
I guess.
Oh my God, my sandwich I think had extra onions, so I apologize in advance. Oh, I had a chicken souvlaki with extra tahini on the side, but I think they slipped some extra. I'm not sure I can stand myself.
If you need mints, we can get them.
Get it over with. Okay.
What are we doing? Continuation of the stage. Good afternoon. Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. Proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, preliminary matter, we're going to continue the first case on the AM docket, 200 East Pratt Street, Unit 1075, Brandy Murphy and Angela Washington Tolich, Buns LLC. Please come forward.
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Buns LLC, and I do have a packet of documents for you.
Okay. Can we swear Ms. Washington? Just.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. This matter was continued from the morning docket with a request from the board to obtain some documentation of the investment in this particular facility. So can you walk us through what you're presenting us?
Yeah, the first sheet you have here is an email, and it actually is not reflective of the true total cost. The costs are actually higher. This is just a bit of a breakout here. The build-out cost for the structure is going to be about 1.3 that my client is going to spend individually. There's an additional $500,000 that's going to be expended on the actual kitchen itself, and that's reflected on, I believe, my documents indicate for J.C. Porter. There's an estimate in the packet as well from J.C. Porter. There's a lease, I believe, the second one in your packet. In the lease, I believe on page 3, there's a $300,000 build-out estimate from the landlord, and that work is going to start roughly tomorrow, in theory. In addition, there's a rough cost of $300,000 for furniture, fixtures, and equipment in terms of tables, chairs, bar stools, things of that nature. So the number that we're looking at this point, well, and I apologize, $77,000, we have an estimate as well for the architect's work.
So architects are Sander Designs?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And then just before that, J.C. Porter Construction, this is the contractor is doing the work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And that itemizes things to a total of 1.8?
1.834, that's correct. And again, we would unfortunately anticipate an overage, as these things tend to be, but that's correct.
Okay, and you say within the lease itself, are you talking about this itemization?
Yeah, no, I apologize. It's 1.18, I believe, B. It's on page R3, which I think is the 6th page in.
Of the lease?
Yeah, it's marked guarantee, but it's actually the full lease.
At the top saying 1.18?
Correct. The construction allowance is $331,000.
Yes.
Yes. And that's what the landlord's gonna do preliminary to convert the space from, I guess, a clothing store to an empty shell, so that it can then be converted into a restaurant.
Okay. And this cover email is from your client.
To my secretary, that's correct, with a basic breakdown that didn't account for the kitchen costs from J.C. Porter. I believe it still doesn't include an estimate for a fire hood in the
Yes.
kitchen.
Okay. And you, Ms. Washington, you had these documents, but just didn't bring them with you this morning, is that correct?
Yes, I wasn't aware that I should bring them.
Okay.
That was my mistake, and I apologize to the board for that.
Do the commissioners have questions based on the new evidence?
So, but as of today, your investment is zero. Is that right?
No, we've already given 37,000.
37. And what was that for?
That was just to start the process, once the lease was signed.
So who did you
To
give?
secure the lease.
Oh, okay, so you gave 37,000
Yes.
towards the lease.
Yes.
And it looks like the lease begins in 2019. Do I have that right?
Um,
Your first payment.
Well, first payment, yes.
And you're gonna, but you take the property as of like now?
December
December of
30, is that right?
2017.
2017.
That's when the landlord's work is supposed to be finished.
Yes. That's
And then your crew goes in there and
when we start.
Okay, okay. No questions.
I guess the only question I have, which isn't related to this necessarily, but just assuming we issue a license today, will you have enough time to actually get this up and running? I mean, how long do you think it'll take for build out, et cetera? What's the time frame? You said April?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're being very aggressive with that. but-
So,
But, go ahead.
No.
No, go ahead, because I think you're probably going where I am.
no, I'll let you go first.
So, but the lease starts when?
December.
December.
Okay, so you expect to be opened in April, though?
April, May.
Okay.
So I guess technically, we're not going to issue a license today. Because
Absolutely
you're
not,
not
correct.
eligible for a license today because you haven't spent but $37,000. Do I have that right?
That's correct,
correct,
Commissioner.
So the
absolutely.
license won't be issued unless you meet the financial
Oh, right.
floor, which it looks like you will.
Yes.
But until you do. And then in terms of timing, once we issue that license, they have how many days to actually open?
This doesn't fall under the
The
180-day
180
transfer.
day.
This
So
is a class,
it's not a
new
transfer.
Class B.
It's a
yes.
new restaurant.
But
Okay.
certainly before we issue the license, they must meet all the requirements, must be submitted to the agency. Absolutely.
Okay. So, okay, got it.
Anything further?
Nope.
Okay, Ms. Washington, thank you for providing us with these documents that were requested this morning. On the basis of what we heard on the record in the morning docket, the application, the testimony, the proffers from counsel, and the new evidence that's been submitted this afternoon, I would vote to approve the application.
I would as well.
I would as well.
Thank
Good
you,
luck to you.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Hurdle.
That closes exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support from Downtown Partnership dated 9/20/2017. Applicant Exhibit 1, updated floor plan. Exhibit 2, letter of support from Cushman Wakefield dated 9/21/2017. Exhibit 3, letter of support from Gallery at Harbor Place and Harbor Town Towers dated 9/21/2017. Exhibit 4, business plan. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, now begins the PM docket. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. There being no preliminary matters on the PM docket, the very first case, Charmaine Nolte and Nikita Rayfield, Charmaine's Inc., trading as The Hideaway, 3425 Sinclair Lane. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. An application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license requiring $200,000 in capital investment and minimum seating capacity for 75, requesting live entertainment and off-premise catering. Please come forward.
Counsel.
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman, F-O-G-L-E-M-A-N, on behalf of the applicants.
Good afternoon. Ladies, would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
We do.
Okay, Mr. Fogelman, this is a new license, so tell us what's going on.
All right, I'm old school, so I like paperwork, lots of it, so
That's
here
fine.
it is. I'm going to present to you, Mr. Chairman, a capital investment breakdown showing costs already attributed to the applicants, along with itemized receipts after that bevy of photos. I just put them together as one exhibit.
That's fine. They'll be received.
Thank you very much.
And this is on Sinclair Lane. Is it a new facility?
Well, it's an existing facility, but it's a request for a new Class B restaurant license at the facility. The facility has been used, as I try to filibuster here, the facility has been used for the past few years as a banquet hall, and they are desirous to open to the public as a restaurant. I do have a menu of their current offerings, but again, this is often for events. I'll have one for each of you.
Oops, excuse me.
The only item, as I am reminded, because I see the commissioner looking at the capital investment breakdown, the very last item on the second page says $22,106. Are these receipts from Home Depot from 2015, and they would not fit in my copier, so.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that entry.
I want to, yeah, I mean, this, all right, I can tell you as an officer of the court that they are adding up to 22,106.
And some are missing.
Yeah, and whatever it says.
Okay, and tell us about the applicants.
Sure. The applicants are engaged in the healthcare field and have been for several years. They are, as I say, they purchased the property, and the property also had a small medical office there. And so they've redone this entire building. And when they purchased the office building, they wanted to know what to do with the space, and I think they realized that it was more space than they could ever use as an office, and thus they have designed and completely renovated the building as a hall and restaurant. It was after pulling so many one-day liquor licenses for private events that they realized that there's really no fine dining in the area, and that they would like to open to the public. You know, even had the public say, "Hey, are you open? Is this a restaurant?" They say, "Well, it's for private events." So that is their plan, is to open Thursday through Sundays to the public. They have about 2 events, private events per month.
Okay, and are you Ms. Nolte? You are. And what is your profession, ma'am?
I am a social worker
Okay, and you're employed,
at Therapeutic Living for Families. I'm the CEO there.
okay, and you want to get in the restaurant business?
Yes.
Because you don't want to sleep anymore?
No, actually, one of the things that we're planning to do with the restaurant is we have a lot of clients that need job training. So we've talked to the chef, and he's agreed to give some classes to our clients. And we also use it for fundraisers. Like we just had an event there on Saturday, and the proceeds is going towards Thanksgiving baskets for our clients. So.
And while we're there, I want to throw out that this doesn't depend on the liquor license, but they offer Thanksgiving meals at the restaurant to families on Thanksgiving Day who are unable to afford meals. Additionally, although Ms. Nolte is just across the line in the county, Ms. Rayfield is a city resident, and everyone they employ are Baltimore City residents.
And are you also a social worker, Ms. Rayfield?
No, I'm not. I oversee the day-to-day operations of the.
Okay. And so are you ladies going to be trained as restaurant managers?
Yes, actually, I went ahead and joined the restaurant.com. They give you a lot of information of how to run the restaurant, spreadsheets and stuff that you need to do that. So I'm taking my CEO experience running the community behavioral health and transfer it over to the restaurant.
And are you going to get the training as to liquor licenses and who they can sell to?
Absolutely. They, and again, because of the one-day liquor licenses, they already have some experience with dealing with alcohol management. They have one person already, an employee who's certified, but they've told me that they're going to be personally certified.
Okay, so most often the problems we run into are sales to minors, purchasing their product from the wrong people and that sort of thing, so be vigilant about that. The commissioners have questions?
Not so much a question, but just an observation. Just you came prepared with all of the documentation that we need to make a decision when a new license is based on the financial, by the expenses. So I just want to say I appreciate that. And thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
My question was answered. I was curious about the community piece, but clearly you're doing a lot with the community, so I appreciate that. Nothing further.
Okay. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, testimony received this afternoon, proffers from council, and the exhibit, which is comprehensive, I would vote to approve the application.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Well, the others have to rule.
We also have to rule.
I don't know.
But I actually agree with him, and I vote to approve. And it's nice to see someone coming in with already a plan that's already in action of giving back to the community. It's refreshing.
Ms. Nolte, your response is exactly like my response when the chairman speaks. I say, okay, I concur. Wish you the best of luck. Good job today.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
hope you have great success. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I call the exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, capital investment breakdown. Applicant Exhibit 2, menu. Thank you.
Robert Passad and Wendell Bush, Gateway F&B LLC, trading as Residence Inn by Marriott Baltimore at the Johns Hopkins Medical Campus, 800 North Wolf Street. This is a Class B, a beer, wine, and liquor hotel license, an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor hotel license under the provisions of Article 2B, which allows the board to issue a hotel or motel license that has at least 100 rooms, capital investment of $500,000. This request is for live entertainment as well as outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Council.
Good afternoon, Craig Schwartz on behalf of the applicants.
Mr. Schwartz, before we swear them, on my conflict sheet, who's Mr. Persaud? Your name popped up as perhaps maybe having been involved in a mediation I did a while ago. Do I look familiar to you?
No.
Okay. Do you have any objection to me sitting on this case today? Okay. All right. I don't even know. You think I remember? No, I just saw the name and I thought I'd better ask. But gentlemen, will you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. So what do we have here?
Thank you. With me today are the two applicants who constitute the two authorized persons on behalf of the LLC that will hold the license to make application today. Wendell Bush, he is the general manager of the hotel that is about to open, and Robert Persaud is our Baltimore City resident who has been a resident for over 7 years. I'd like to proceed by way of proffer, given that the witnesses are here for any questions. Before the board is a application for a new Hotel Class B license with outdoor table service and live entertainment. It's for the new Marriott Residence Inn Hotel that's located at 800 North Wolf Street. The requirements for this license are that there has to be a minimum capital investment of at least $500,000, a minimum of 100 rooms to accommodate the public, and dining room seating for at least 125 persons at one seating. What we have is a newly constructed hotel that's developed by an affiliate of Greenebaum Enterprises as part of the planned redevelopment of the area just north of Johns Hopkins Hospital. It's located on the corner of Wolf and Madison Street. The hotel is going to provide a much-needed use for accommodations by Hopkins patients and their families that come in from out of town, as well as others. Also included will be retail space for commercial users on the first floor. Included in the file that we've handed out are aerial images showing the location of the hotel and its proximity to the hospital. There are renderings of the hotel lobby, the bar area on the first floor, the rooftop lounge, and the outdoor seating off of the rooftop lounge. The floor plans included in the package show the seating counts with a total seating for 129 persons for service of meals, and that does not even include standing room in the boardrooms and the conference rooms as well. There are 2 full commercial kitchens for the preparation of meals, and the hotel will have 194 guest rooms. That's confirmed in the room matrix that was filed with the application.
Okay, and on page 7 of the exhibit, there's a breakdown of cost. These are for the construction of the hotel?
That is for the total construction of the hotel, including the facilities that will be for the service of food and
Which
alcohol.
line item that would be under? Construction cost? I mean, is that what we're talking about?
That would be included. The total project cost is in excess of $87 million, and that would be included in construction cost in the $56,296,492.
Do you know what yours are going to be for this particular facility?
What
your costs are going to be?
The total cost
Yes.
for the facility?
I mean, for the facility they're going to run.
Oh, it's in excess of $2.5 million for the facility that will be run under the license.
Okay. And does it meet the other requirements?
It does meet the other requirement with the 100 rooms minimum and the 125-person seating accommodation.
Okay, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, so.
That's okay. There also included in the package was the budget excerpt that I was getting to with the capital investment. This is truly going to be a first-class facility. Included in the packet is an article from the Baltimore Sun, which was written about the groundbreaking for the hotel, which states that it is a much celebrated development in the area north of the hospital. And it discusses the benefits to the community, including accommodations for out-of-town patients and their families. There's also an article from the Johns Hopkins Hub included in the packet, which talks about how the hotel will transform the area north of the hospital and will serve to build a stronger, more vibrant East Baltimore, deepening ties with the community. Also included in the packet is a letter from Raymond Skinner, who is the president of East Baltimore Development, Inc., supporting the application. Mr. Skinner states that the hotel is a much-needed amenity and a necessary part of revitalization of the community. The retail space will also provide an added benefit to the community, and that approval of the application will contribute immensely to the community. Mr. Skinner concludes that EBDI supports the issuance of the license, including the outdoor seating and live entertainment.
And what would be the nature of the entertainment?
I believe that, Wendell, could you respond?
Sure, there will be a combination of DJs as well as some live entertainment like jazz bands, and but not, we've decided not to make it too much of a urban feel.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The hotel is going to be operated by Pyramid Management, and Mr. Bush is going to be the general manager. He has approximately 15 years of hotel management experience, as is shown on his rather impressive resume that's included in the packet. The hotel will have a food and beverage manager, that's Yolanda Beyer, who also happens to be a certified tips trainer. So she's going to be on site daily. All personnel who will have contact with alcohol will be tip certified, and I would suspect that with Ms. Beyer on site, compliance will be of the utmost importance. In summation, with regard to the requirements for the license, we have shown that the dining facilities will seat at least 125 persons. We'll have 194 hotel guest rooms, which exceeds the minimum requirement. There's been a capital investment in excess of $87 million. With regard to public need and desire for the license, there's been a showing of significant need and support from East Baltimore Development and the surrounding community, as evidenced by the published articles and the letters. We do not expect any negative impact on existing license holders in the area. To the contrary, the hotel is going to bring in new guests to the area that will benefit other licensees and businesses in the area. There will not be any negative impact on the health, safety, and welfare of the community, and we're happy to entertain any questions that the board may have. But otherwise, we respectfully request approval of the application.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have questions?
I guess my only question was how you will balance out live entertainment with your targeted hotel population of families that are coming into Baltimore for medical treatment and services and to support their families.
Yes. And we've decided that's one of the reasons we're not going to have, like, right now our plan is to be open only to about 10 during the week and no later than 12 12 in the evening. But we're not going to have the loud music that will be heard outside the hotel. And then the way we would do that is we have a buffer floor between the guest rooms and the 16th floor for the area that will be utilized for live entertainment.
Okay. And I think you also asked for outdoor table service. Outdoor table service.
Yes.
So the question there is, how will you manage that? Because at this point, there's still some residential areas, there's churches, there's schools. How will you manage the outdoor table service so that that's compatible with not what is happening in the future, but with what is happening right now in that area?
Well, currently, the way the outdoor table services work, it literally is, do we have a space on the 16th floor, but it's on the 16th
so it's
floor.
elevated.
It's on the top.
Okay.
And
It's
then
on the rooftop.
Yeah, and then we do have a outside area that's on that, which is really the lobby or the second floor, but again, there will be no live entertainment there. That is going
Okay.
to, there will be a restaurant that will literally, people just sitting out there having, and then on the bottom level, there's no, we're not going to put tables on the bottom street level.
Okay, great, thank you. Appreciate that.
Mr. Bush, your experience is incredible. So clearly got the right individual managing this. I guess my question was, who is Pyramid Baltimore Management? They're the actual owners. So can we talk about who they are? Who makes up that LLC?
Well, Pyramid is actually the company that is going to manage the operations. The actual licensee is LSH F&B LLC. F&B is for food and beverage. And that is wholly owned by the owner of the hotel, which is part of the Greenbaum Enterprises. It's a separate LLC that was established for that. And I do have copies of the operating agreement for LSH F&B LLC, the licensee, which does contain a provision stating that the only authorized persons for purposes of applying for the license are Mr. Prasad, and I can submit that if you would like.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
Anything further? Okay, thank you. It will be received. Well, thank you, counsel. On the basis of the information that is contained in the application, as well as the considerable number of exhibits that have been presented to us today, and counsel's explanation of them, and the testimony we've received, I would vote to approve the application.
I would vote to approve as well, and just really appreciate the investment in Baltimore. And just as I'm sitting here listening and hearing the name Greenbaum, I'm thinking of my good friend, Mr. Greenbaum, wondering how he's doing. But also, it's just nice to see him working with Hopkins as opposed to University of Maryland only. I know you're happy as well.
Yes.
I concur, and thank you for the investment, because it's an area that I know has been pining for it, and there's been a big plan, so thank you for that.
Yeah, it's good to see that area developing the way it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Slow and steady, right?
Thank you.
And there's an exhibit.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hand.
Here's one. Thank you. And here's another.
Well, that's from the last case.
Oh, that's what.
You can have that.
Is that, this is this case.
And so is this. He just handed me that.
Okay.
Oh, I thought he said the last case. Okay.
No, I'm sorry, but the bundle over there was from the last case.
Let's call the exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support from East Baltimore Development, Inc., dated 9/7/2017. Applicant 1, business plan, and applicant 2, operating agreement. Thank you.
Shashila Tawari and Tiffany Gooseby, BG and SK Inc., trading as Liquor Stop, 6400 Hollabird Avenue. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, and application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Abraham Earl on behalf of it's Tiffany Gatsby and Sushila Tawari and BG and SU Inc.
Good afternoon. Ladies, would you raise your right hands, please?
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes. If I may proffer, this is an in-location transfer of an A license. These two young ladies with me each have 5 years' experience in the industry. They're familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board, including underage service being a concern. They're going to be taking the TAM certification class in the next couple of weeks. In addition, we have extensively gone over that you have to buy everything from wholesalers and not from any other source, regardless of the quantity or the type of alcohol, and the different aspects of being underage. This is a location that did have a violation, I believe, I think just a couple of weeks ago. I think there's still a fine pending, and I did explain to them that this is a concern that they need to be vigilant and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Was that a
Underage sale to minors.
Underage, okay.
Yes. At this point, they plan to operate the location as it sits, and the two of them will run it themselves for the time being, and there are going to be no other employees. I believe Ms. Gatsby lives in the city, and Ms. Tawari lives in Baltimore County, so she's a short distance away. I don't know that she's willing yet to make the adjustment to the city, but it is a short commute.
And how big a place is this?
How many square feet is it? Maybe less than a couple thousand, right?
Yeah, I mean, the design looks small, that's why.
It's a snug spot, yeah.
Okay. So the two of you can manage it, and you're going to work at different times or at the same time, or what?
Weekends and then during the week, we're just gonna split it.
What?
I'm gonna work on.
You need to
the-
speak
You have to speak into the microphone.
I'm gonna work on the weekends and she's gonna work during the weekdays.
Okay.
And that's Ms. Gatsby, correct?
And are you employed now?
Yes.
What are you doing now?
I'm a cashier.
Okay. At a liquor establishment?
No, I work at a beauty supply store.
Okay.
A beauty supply store?
Oh,
sorry.
And you, ma'am? Are you working now?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
I'm working like in a different liquor store.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm working at different liquor store.
Liquor store, a different liquor store. Okay. How long have you been there?
I've been working for like 5 years.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
One of you is married to someone that owns a liquor store. Which one would that be?
That's me.
And what is your name?
Susila Tiwari.
All right, and it's your husband owns a liquor store on Old York Road. Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of the?
Sekhar Karki.
I'm sorry?
Sekhar Karki.
What is the name of the liquor store?
It's Waverly Tavern.
Old?
Waverly Tavern.
Old Waverly Tavern?
No, Waverly Tavern.
Overly Tavern. Okay, sorry. So, and that's where you're currently working. And is it your plan to continue working there and work here as well?
No, I'm just gonna work over there full time.
Okay. And are you currently certified to serve alcohol?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you know Frank Shawless?
Frank.
Shawless?
He's a lawyer of our seller.
He's a lawyer for the seller? And did you just meet him as a part of this transaction?
SBS, or no?
Is that a yes or a no?
Sorry, yeah.
So
I
you
apologize.
so when did you first meet him?
Like couple of, I think a month ago.
A few months ago? Okay. Okay.
Have-
Okay, thank you. Let me think for a minute.
Commissioner?
My apologies. If that's an issue with the witnesses, we'd be happy to supplement one in the near future if that's an issue.
Well, it says, I mean, it's a misstatement here. It says that he's been acquainted with him for 4 years. I don't know.
Chalice is here, would you like to ask
Oh,
him perhaps?
well, he better be sworn in then.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the
I
truth?
do.
Okay, Mr. Charles, why did you sign this and say you've known this ladies for 4 years?
Because I have.
Well, she doesn't know that.
Well, I don't know why she doesn't know that. I represented her husband when they bought York Road.
Oh. Okay. And did you meet her then?
Yes, I did.
She didn't,
Is that true, ma'am?
Yeah, I met him, but like for this second store, like processing second store, I met him a couple of months back.
Mr. Chalice, you represent the seller in this matter, is that correct?
I represent the seller and I represent the building owner.
So you've had interactions with them more recently than 4 years ago in regards to this specific matter, as recently as a few months ago?
I've had interaction with them over the 4 years.
Okay. Sounds like it was a misunderstanding of the
When it
question.
was in, when I represented the previous owner of the business on York Road, which is how I met all of them. They're all Indians, and I represent a lot of Indians. So she, as a matter of fact, when I walked in, said, "Hi, how you been?" When she walked in, but.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you might have another question or something.
No, anything further?
I have concerns
What are your
about the attestation that you've known this applicant for 4 years. And maybe there's confusion, but I would think that you would want to make sure that there isn't any confusion.
I
And
understand why it's confusing.
I don't either, but it is.
Well, let me expound then. When they went to buy York Road,
When you say they, who are you referring to?
her husband and she was alone.
So is she also an owner?
No, she is not an
Okay,
owner.
because that would be,
of
also
York
be a
Road.
problem, wouldn't
She
it?
has 2 other partners on York Road,
Okay.
and I know all of them. We've been to affairs together and everything. Now, she wasn't always along when they were along, but I've known her since that time. Any questions?
Well, we need to move on, but my only other is, your statement that you represent a lot of Indians and you know a lot of Indians, that just, this perhaps isn't the forum for addressing that, but
Maybe
it
it's not.
rings a little inappropriate to me, but that has nothing to do with this
Well, it
application.
may sound inappropriate to you, but all my clients know me. I represent at least 100 people from India. I call them Indians. They know I do. They like me. They come back to me. I don't have any problems.
Okay, I do, but we'll address that separate. Okay, thank you very much.
Anything further?
I have no further questions or comments. I would ask at this time that the board approve the transfer.
I do have some questions. This location has a history of violations
Correct. It was
for
more recent.
underage drinking, and it's a healthy record. Are you aware of that, the two of you?
Yes, we are, and we are planning to install the ID scanner very soon.
Okay, and what else are you going to do to make sure that this is not a problem under your ownership?
Carding everyone that looks under 40.
Hold on, let me make sure that.
Yeah, you
Hey,
need
Mark,
to
speak
speak
very
up so I
soft,
can
I'm
hear
sorry.
you.
Sorry. Carding everyone under 40.
Okay,
And installing the ID scanner.
Yes, that will help for sure.
okay, all right.
We did speak extensively before the hearing about the fact that there was a previous liquor violation just very recently as well, and I mentioned that would raise the ire of the board if it continued to be a repeat offender at the location.
Right, okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, and testimony we have received, proffers from counsel, I would vote to approve the transfer.
I would vote to approve.
I would as well.
Good luck,
Thank you,
ladies.
Commissioners. May we be excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hurdle. No exhibits.
Yared Tesfaye, Nathan Restaurant and Lounge LLC, no trade name given, 6820-24 Eastern Avenue. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. An application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment, requesting off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky, 19 Fayette Street, representing the applicants.
Mr. Kudensky, Mr. Tesfaye's name showed up on my conflict sheet. Do you know whether we have a conflict?
No, I don't think so.
And so, no opposition to me hearing the case?
No.
All right. Would all of you gentlemen raise your right hands, please?
I swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Okay, so, Mr. Kudensky?
It's a transfer of an existing location. Mr. Scarlett is the current licensee. He's been helping the applicant, who's been working there probably the last 5 or 6 months. There'll be a transfer of an existing B license. The applicant has been certified for alcohol awareness. I don't have extra copies. This is the original. The operation will be pretty much, it'll be the same. They'll have approximately 8 employees that are there. There'll be people hired from the neighborhood. As far as the entertainment would go, is on the second floor has a use and occupancy permit for live entertainment, which are basically talking about DJ. That's about it for the upper level. The operation will be 7 days a week. They're going to start opening earlier. They haven't been open early. They'll be opening earlier. And full menu. And as I indicated, Mr. Colin Scarlett will stay on for about another 6 months. The applicant has lived about half a mile from this location on El Reno Street. He's been in an IT with Amazon, I always say Amazon.com, over on Browning Highway. And we'd ask the board to approve the transfer to him.
Okay. And you, sir?
My name is Thomas Wall.
Can you step up to the microphone, please?
Thomas Wall, W-A-U-G-H.
Okay, and what is your interest in this matter?
Well, I'm Division Chief for Department of Housing and Community Development, and one of the things I'm tasked with was zoning enforcement for Baltimore City. The 6820 in question, you know, we've had multiple violations for violations of the Indoor Smoking Act. First one was on December 2nd, 2016, and then again on 4/14/2017. Mr. Tafasi, his brother, Daniel Tafasi, how do you pronounce your last name? Is Tafasi?
Tesfaye.
Tesfaye. I've had multiple dealings with him over the years. Originally, in 2015, we started inspecting Ace Hookah Lounge for zoning violations and indoor smoking. His brother is the one that was originally created the corporation, and he also is signed as originally as 2016. There's been a court order against that property, a civil injunction saying to cease operations for and use the property as it's zoned as.
And which property is that?
It's 1049 Hillen Street. There's been 2 murders at that location.
I got to object. It has nothing to do with.
I'm trying to get to that.
I'm going to get to that.
His brother operates a place on Hillen Street that is in violation.
Yes, and he has currently said that he doesn't have anything to do more with the organization.
Who says that?
Daniel Tesfaye. But the documents from 2016 recorded with ESTAT show that he's the signer on the organization as a partner.
I'm going to object. It has nothing to do with this location.
You think that's lost on me, Mr. Kudensky?
So
I'm trying to get there myself. So
okay, and so for this property, 6820 Eastern Avenue, Daniel Tafasi has also, he is the person that is on the permits and has been present at that location when we've done inspections at this location. But on the building permits.
He's on the permits.
He's on the building permits that, to change this property, to do add the bar on the first floor, which when we inspected it the other night, there was a bar on the first floor, which I know is a violation of the liquor board expanding without permission of the board.
Okay.
But it's just something that I wanted to bring to the board's attention, that the individual for 1049 Helen Street is also associated with 6820. He's on the building permits. He insists that he doesn't own the or have any association with Ace Hookah Lounge anymore, but we've had the same problems at 6820 Exit 59 Lounge with smoking indoors, and he has been present at that location. when
What's
we did it.
Exit 59? That's the former name?
That's the former name, correct. It's 6820.
Current name. Okay.
Exit 59.
And who was the licensee?
Mr. Scarlett.
And we've cited him on numerous
I don't want
occasions.
to say it. Easy.
Okay. Did you have something you wanted to add, Mr. Fosler? Have you been sworn? Yes, you were.
I have. Chief Inspector Mark Fosler, certainly what Chief Wall has said, we've been out to this location multiple times. I haven't met this gentleman, but I always meet this gentleman, the applicant, who appears to be operating the place. We've been out there with the police on multiple occasions. We have multiple 311 complaints. There's issues that I can't talk about right now, but there was a concern both with housing and with the police department that that we wanted to express today, and that's.
Well, just so we can get to the bottom of it, do you know why his brother is on the permits at this location?
So originally, his brother was going to be an applicant here when he called the place called Empress Lounge Inc., because he was in and then became, after he had some problems, it was decided that he couldn't be involved in this place. And his brother Yared is the one who formed a new corporation that's been in there. The situations have to do with hookah. Everybody says, no hookah. You know, hookah is the hookah with the incense and the charcoal. There's been a lot of problems in this city with regard to certain groups, cultural groups, want hookah. Now they've decided that they're going to electronic hookah. Electronic hookah seems to be acceptable to the city. The problem is, and this is not, since everybody brought it up here, you go to Virginia, every restaurant there has charcoal hookah. Virginia must be different because it's a tobacco state, but they have it. Here, they won't go along with it because they say it's open flame or open charcoal. So decision's been made that if they're going to do any kind of hookah, it's got to be electronic hookah. It can't be with regard to charcoal.
Okay, that's all very interesting, but, his brother operates a place on Hillen Street that has been violated by the health department.
That I do not know.
Well,
'cause I know
that's the
nothing about it.
testimony I'm hearing, has been violated by the health department for those smoking violations. And Mr. Fosler's telling me that when Mr. Scarlett ran this place, there were multiple 311 complaints. The nature of the complaints were?
Noise, disturbing the peace. That's mostly what the nature of the complaints.
Okay. And when you say there were housing violations, what housing violations?
Probably, Mr. Walker probably best answer that.
So there was a zoning violation as far as running a hookah lounge without a permit. And then there was also housing code violations for secondary egress, electrical work. Besides that, we enforce the health article as far as the indoor smoking as well.
So you violated Mr. Scarlett?
Yes.
Okay. And has anything been done about those violations?
When we inspected it last, which was wasn't this past, Friday, that there was no indoor charcoal briquette burning in the property. There was no indoor smoking. But the last time that we were in there was in April 22nd. There was, they were using indoor charcoal briquettes, hookah, and smoking in the property.
Have you closed them?
With the zoning violation and health article, you issue citations, you bring them to court as far as so the case was forwarded on for one of our attorneys to go ahead and file a court case against
And
them.
has anything happened with those?
I don't believe the case has been filed yet for 6820 for Exit 59.
So let me ask you directly, what interaction have you had with Yared Tesfaye?
The first time that I can recall him was Friday, and when his brother Daniel introduced us and said, but Daniel was behind the bar on the first floor and introduced his brother, Mr. Yardy here. And so that was the first time that I've.
But you've never had any interaction with him?
No, but I've had a lot of interactions with Daniel, and Daniel's been at the club at Exit 59 every time that we've inspected it.
And is he going to work there?
No, he's not gonna work.
Where's he working now?
Right now, I'm not sure, but he's on leave, but he's not
When
gonna.
was the last time he worked there?
The last time he worked there is about 3-4 months ago.
3 or 4 months ago?
Yeah, but like, I wasn't there.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, 3-4 months ago. He's not working right now.
And is his other place still open on Hillen Street?
The Helen Street, he left that place a year ago. He sold but they were partnership. He sold his half for the other partner. He left a year ago. That's I remember. But the other partner, I don't know. He keep opening it. I don't know what's going on that place. But
Okay, I should know for the record that we've been given a letter of opposition signed off by 46 individuals. Are any of them here?
Of course, we don't get them. When did you get them?
About 2 seconds ago.
It's really absurd when that happens that way. It is. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to be part of the
Well,
record.
I don't
mean,
know.
if they come in tomorrow, what good are they? I mean, people have concerns. Does anybody know where it is? Does anybody know this location? Well, you may remember where Old Cross and Blackwell was years ago. It's right across the street, right next to 95. Right down the street is the Glass Menagerie. That's a restaurant. The Eastern Car Wash is there. And it's really not much of the neighborhood behind it is called the Eastwood, that area.
Well, this opposition that you didn't want to see is specific. It goes to the dancing and live entertainment provision. What
They
kind
have
of,
a permit for it.
what do they do? What kind of dancing and live entertainment do they have?
DJ up on the second floor.
Oh, okay,
It's on the permit.
okay.
Now, and to take us one step further, I'm looking to file, and they have inspectors' reports from 3/27/18. It's Detective Greenhill accompanied Angie Chrysomiles and Chief Foster to the establishment because of complaints of allegations of underage servers and charcoal hookahs. Employees' records showed the servers to be of age, observance of hookahs being electronic. So you got to get both sides of the situation here, and to come in here on this one here about something that happened on Hillen Street. It's really outrageous to let that even come in. It has nothing to do. It's like because your brother did something, you're going to be responsible and carry it around on your back. Doesn't work
Came
that
in
way.
because he proffered to me that it was going to lead to relevant evidence.
Well, it didn't.
Well, I wouldn't have known that until I heard the end of the story. All right, commissioners have questions?
I guess, from all that I've heard, it seems like the concern is that although your brother is not here today, he's at the restaurant.
No.
And he's there a lot. That's the testimony that I heard, is that he was there when the inspectors came in. And I guess he's on some building permits or something. Does that sound, are you aware of that?
yeah, he was there like when they came, because when I came there, but originally the plan was he the one who was gonna, but I took it from him. So he showed me, he introduced me them there, the housing there. If they come and you have to go talk to them. When he introduced me last time when they came, but
Have you had any communications with any of the people in the neighborhood or the area that surrounds the bar?
communication
Have you talked to anyone that lives nearby?
yeah, but the next door, the restaurant. There is a bar and a restaurant next door, and then there is the car wash next to us, and then the sign place. Yeah, I talked to them.
Do you know that one of your opponents at number 23 is a Mr. Donald Trump who lives at White House Road?
Oh, my God.
We refer to him as the Donald.
All right.
I think that he's well
Get the
aware of the
gist of it.
situation. If that question is, since this question of the hookah has been all over in Baltimore City and Baltimore County, about whether you can or can't do it. As it now, it seems that if they're gonna do hookah and it can be approved by the city, it has to be electronic hookah. I'm not sure it's what he wants to do, but that issue's now been taken care of.
Just a couple questions for the applicant. So you understand the concern about hookahs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's very clear, we're on
Yeah,
the
we're
same page.
not gonna do any charcoal hookahs.
Do you understand the concern that's been raised, whether it's relevant or not? I think it frankly, personally is relevant because your brother's on the permit, about the concern about your brother. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you also understand the concern about live dancing, live entertainment by, I assume it's noise-related, which we've seemingly have gotten a number 311 calls about? Now, what I will say is, and I appreciate when a community, expresses their support or opposition, but I would say to them is that Mr. Scarlett can sell his license to whomever he wants, and it's obviously up to this body to decide whether to approve or not. And as I understand, you currently have live entertainment.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so-
I'm actually the owner of the building also.
Okay.
Colin Scarlett.
Mr. Tesfaye, can you please explain what your plan is for the off-premise delivery of alcohol? You've requested that.
I think we're not going to give
Can
any
you,
weight to that.
can you say the question again?
Do you want-
Off-premises delivery of alcohol, people order alcohol to deliver alcohol. What are your plans? You plan on doing that or or not?
No.
You're not planning on doing that, so we don't need to add that to the
No,
license?
you can withdraw it.
Okay, we'll withdraw that. Okay, I have nothing further at this point.
I missed that. What was being withdrawn?
Off-premises delivery of alcohol.
Okay.
Okay, anything further?
Nothing further.
All right. So we have before us an application that on its face is meritorious. We have testimony from Mr. Yared Tesfaye that he has been working in the IT industry and was pulled into this because while his brother was originally going to do it, he's had enough difficulties that it was considered not wise for him to be the licensee, and you agreed to do that. You've heard enough from us today to know that we have a lot of concerns about the continuing 311 calls, noise and other things in the community, problems with whatever the hookah issue is, the health department and zoning issues. You're going to have to address all those things yourself and get all that straightened out if you run this operation. I can't give a great deal of weight to this written opposition because not only is the president's name listed, but Malcolm X apparently signed it and various other people. So on the basis of your testimony, the proffers from your counsel, and with all the concerns I have, I would still vote to approve the transfer.
I think there's, the testimony is concerning, and it seems that you're being proffered as the licensee, but the real person who's going to be operating this is your brother. And that's how the testimony has come out, and you just need to know that. And you can shake your heads all you want. That's how the testimony came out, all right? Understand that. And that's troubling. We have to go with what's presented. And what's presented raises concerns, but I think that your application is still approvable. And I'm going to support the approval, but with a very strong caution. Donald Trump and Malcolm X aside, there are a number of people that have signed a petition opposing you. And if you don't address concerns, you'll be back. You will be back.
Okay.
So just understand that.
I have my concerns as well. I think, as Commissioner Moore and the Chairman said, it's on its face approvable, but I too have incredible concerns. I'd encourage you to reach out to the community, regardless if they're some distance, you don't believe they're close enough, and regardless of the president opposing you, I would reach out to the community and sit down with them, because rest assured, it appears to me that, folks will be watching.
And the only thing that, just so we're clear, the only thing that's being approved is the transfer of ownership. That's it. Oh, and the live entertainment, but not the
Yes, I want
off-premise
to be clear on
catering.
that, too, that
Right.
they've withdrawn the request for premise catering delivery.
Promise, care, and deliver.
So, Mr. Tesfaye, this has been approved. I don't know why you want to take this on, but good luck.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, okay?
I'd like to call the exhibit for the record, Board Exhibit 1, letter of opposition and petition of opposition. Thank you.
Joseph Brozakowski, Management, Inc., trading as Patapsco Flea Market, 3301 Annapolis Road. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor arena license. An application to add off-premise, off-sale privilege of beer, wine, and liquor from a location within the licensed premises not to exceed 2,000 square feet under the provisions of Article 2B, Section 12-1001, D3, small I, small IV. All interested parties, please come forward and raise your right hands.
Is there an attorney representing the applicants?
Unfortunately, there's not.
Okay.
It's
And you-
Rosh Hashanah.
We're gonna all speak one at a time, and get your name before, because I don't know who you are.
Well, first, why don't you swear them, and then I'll ask her for her name. Brian.
Just gotta take my notes, though, I need to make sure I have a name.
Okay, what is your name, ma'am?
Sandra Hyatt.
Would all of you folks raise your right hands, please? Anybody who wishes to offer testimony has to raise their right hand now. Anybody who's not being sworn, yeah, if you're not raising your right hand, you're not being sworn.
All right, raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Who's Mr. Bruzolkowski? How do you say your name?
Brahowski.
Brahowski. You're the you're the licensee.
Yes.
And you want to add off-sale privileges for the sale of beer, wine, and liquor. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct? To your license. Okay. And why is that?
Well, we have the business there that's been there over 30-some years, and it's a flea market, and we're open on Saturdays and Sundays. We do serve a lot of food. We have a food court that people can take home food. We also have a crab deck that people can order a bushel of crabs or shrimp or whatever they want to do to take home. And they've been after us for a while now to say, we can drink here in your tiki bars. We have small tiki bars in there for them to get a beer or whatever. And they would like to, as they order food, they would like to take something home with them to drink with their crabs. So I said, well, it seems like it'd be a good idea. So we went about and tried to get it now.
And the General Assembly passed legislation that authorized it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And who are these folks to your right?
Anthony Faust,
And
I'm his consultant.
you're his consultant. And you, ma'am?
Anthony Faust?
Yes.
Last name?
Faust, F-A-U-S-T.
One second. A lot of folks, we're gonna have to do this slowly.
And please step up to the microphone when you speak, or else we won't be able to hear you.
Spell your name, say and spell your name.
Okay, I'm Ann McLean.
And McLean.
McLean.
McLean, how do you s-
MC, capital L-E-A-N.
Okay, McLean. McLean, what's your relationship here?
Friend, go to the bingo. He works with my community from Cherry Hill.
Who he?
Joe does.
Okay.
I'm chairperson of Cherry Hill Development Corporation.
Okay.
And Joe has been working with our community for years, doing stuff, back to school, Christmas, whatever. He also works with other communities, not even in that area. Some is in East Baltimore. Although I go to Joe's bingo, but even the people that come to the bingo, that's regularly, if they have a death or something, Joe's always there to help. And so I'm here in
I appreciate
support of the family.
Okay. And ma'am, you spoke earlier. What's your name?
Sandy Hyatt.
Hyatt, H-Y-A-T-T?
Yes, sir.
And why are you here?
I'm Joe's personal assistant and basically have a lot of information in case you need it.
Okay, thank you. And why are you here, Mr. Shawless?
I represent the communities of Lakeland Community Partnership.
Okay, and are these folks all members of that community?
Yes, and my clients are all members.
Okay, and
If I might, sir, so we can understand what's going on. have here some diagrams or pictures for the community, from the community, show the liquor stores, packaged goods stores in the area.
What does that have to do with this issue?
It's a proliferation ordinarily.
I mean, did you address that to the legislature? Well, you realize they passed a law.
Oh, I realize that.
Mr. Chairman, can council speak into the microphone, please?
You have to speak into the microphone,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Charles.
Thank you.
I realize they passed the law. I would like to ask Mr. Bukowski some questions
About what?
about the zoning.
Well, that's not relevant to our issue. He's asking for the privilege to sell beer, wine, and liquor, and he obtained legislation from the General Assembly to do that, and you tell me you didn't go down there and oppose it?
Didn't know it was up. Neither did the community,
Why not?
because it was a last-minute addition.
Oh, well, what do you expect me to do about that?
Well, I don't expect you to do anything except listen to what the community's argument is,
But why would that be relevant to me at this point?
because you can't put it in
Pardon?
a place that Baltimore City has zoned it out. So even if you were to approve the application, it should be a nullity.
So you have a legal argument?
I do.
And the legal argument is that it's not permissible under the zoning law?
Yes, sir.
Can you show me the zoning law?
Yes, sir. It's the Baltimore transition, I believe. What do they call it?
Come on, let's not fumble. You've been waiting all day. Give me the stuff.
Pardon me?
You're fumbling around with papers. You've been waiting for 2 hours to do this. Let's get this stuff. I'm losing patience.
Shows a C3 zoning, that location.
What does that mean? Where's the statute that you're referring to? Do you have some information on this, Mr. Hurdle? Because I'm not getting this.
Yes, I do.
Can you step up to the microphone and tell me what's going on and do it succinctly?
Yes, Abraham Hurdle. I represent the licensees in the area, Patapsco Village, Gateway Inn, Slim's Liquor, and Hollinswood Liquor and Bar. The location in question is a C3 zone, whether we look at the two different addresses that have been kind of sort of danced around, 1400 West Patapsco or 3301 Annapolis Road. Both of them are a C3 zone. Both require, according to the new transform zoning code, which went into effect early June, and this application for use was done in July, would require a city ordinance with the city council. That was not done. The zoning, there never should have been issued a use draft.
And where is, can I see the statute
Yeah,
that says that?
there's a zoning chart from the zoning code, which if you look at there, it indicates retail location with alcohol as a C3. You kind of go from the top and then the left, and then it says CO. CO is a city ordinance. CB is conditional board approval.
And what am I
B is
looking at?
permissible.
This is Article 32 of what?
Of the Transform Baltimore City zoning code that went into effect in June. It's the first change in zoning in 40 years. Previously, this location was a B2, I believe, which would have been permissible, but since the use was applied for in July, it requires a city ordinance and a council bill to authorize this use.
Is this itself a piece of, this is
It's
part of the
one
Baltimore
page of
City Code?
550 pages of
Right,
the
of the
zoning
city
code. That's
code.
correct.
And you're saying it supersedes an act of the General Assembly?
I'm saying that the General Assembly could have authorized specifically to go around the zoning code. I know that specifically because the BD7 rules authorize the liquor board to act before zoning approval. In this case, they did not do that, to my understanding.
When did the legislation become effective?
The legislation for the zoning went into
No,
effect
this.
July
legis-
1st is my understanding,
When did this become effective?
June 5th. And the application for zoning use was applied for June 17th.
But when was this passed?
When it went into effect is July 1st.
But it was passed during the last session.
I couldn't tell you the
Before
date.
this was in effect. Because they were out of session by June.
Well, my understanding is the law for the liquor board is you have to have zoning approval before you can file an application. The zoning use must have been part of that. The use permit that they submitted, the use draft, not a use permit, I apologize, indicates they applied in mid-July, which means they would have had to gotten a city ordinance. There must have been a mistake at the zoning board. This has been brought to the zoning board's attention via letters and several phone calls. When we spoke to the zoning board the other day, they couldn't find this in their system.
And who do you represent the neighboring taverns?
That's correct.
Okay. And they are all in opposition to this, but nobody bothered to go down to Annapolis?
This, correct. I mean, we were in Annapolis, but for other reasons.
Okay, you can, but you're going to waste your time and mine. I'm going to need a brief on it. If you're going to submit a legal argument, I'll need to have it.
Submit a brief on the
Yeah.
zoning.
I'm not trying to waste your time.
Okay.
What it is there, in the liquor board file, there is an application for zoning of 3301 Annapolis Road. Today, I came up, I said, they couldn't find this application.
I don't know who they are.
I was showing a use and occupancy,
Who are they?
Mr. Akers.
Oh, okay.
I was showing them, use approval, use and occupancy permit. And it was for 1400 West Patapsco Avenue. So there is no use and occupancy permit here. In addition, where they applied, which I was trying to show by this photograph there, the Patapsco Flea Market, and the picture presented to the liquor board shows it at the southernmost end of the building known as 1400 West Patapsco Avenue. And that is not the property authorized by the legislature. That is a separate tax property. I have the tax bills for it, separate from 3301. I have the tax bills for both of them. I made numerous copies, but here's the tax, 5 copies of each.
Okay. Anything further? They've raised a legal objection. I don't know the law on it. They're going to have to get submitted to me. You'll have an opportunity to review it. If you want to have an attorney respond to theirs, the case will be set back in so that we can make disposition on it. When can we do that?
October 19th?
Okay, so I'll need your brief in a week.
Sounds great.
You'll have a week after that to respond.
28th?
28th is fine. What's the week after the 28th?
5th.
5th, okay. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll be back on the 19th for determination.
Thank you.
Okay?
I have one.
And you can have all this, and are you going to work with him on this, Mr. Shawless, so that this information is contained in his brief? Okay. Because if you want to present it, you're going to have to do it in writing, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I know you all hate me. It's a lot of
I'll put them together. Okay. One. All right.
You're welcome. Okay. I think there's one more.
Sure. John Durkin, Shane Durkin, and Michael Mestalone, Mad River Baltimore LLC, trading as The Charles, 1110-12 South Charles Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. A request to reopen after 90 days. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensees. With me is John Durkin, one of the licensees.
Mr. Durkin, will you raise your right hand, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, so you've written a letter to us saying that they anticipated renovations to be done in 90 days, but it's going to be until September 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It ran over, the premises was closed for renovation on May 22nd. Those renovations were expected to be done within 90 days that didn't quite get done, so we filed the request to reopen.
And you're ready to reopen now?
We're ready to reopen. We've submitted to the board the copies of the items that are required by Rule 214B, which are the current trader's license, city health permit, city use and occupancy permit, sales tax license number, and a new SDAT good standing certificate, so the place is ready to open.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No.
I do not.
I would grant the request.
Thank you, sir.
Well, the others might not.
Sorry.
I approve, and just note the Baltimore Sun article that presaged that you would be opening this week. I was curious as to how you thought that would happen without our approval.
I didn't tell them that we were open, that we said we were hoping to.
Oh, okay.
Obviously,
Okay.
it's press sometimes.
So this was very ambitious, this article.
Yes, I mean, again, they wrote that notice, you know,
Okay.
as impressed us sometimes.
All
We
right.
were hoping. I didn't think there was any reason why you guys wouldn't approve us, you know? I mean-
Because of articles like this that sort of usurp our authority.
I apologize. Yeah, that's something I said to you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I concur too, actually. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Exhibits?
No exhibits.
That then should conclude our docket for today.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the board is in recess until Thursday, September the 28th, 2017, 11
No,
a.m.
I have no issue with what just happened. I have none.